Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Colleen Meyer from Meyer and Mintz LLC, and we are bringing you today Fearless in Pink. And we have an amazing guest today. Her name is Maritza Gomez. And Maritza, tell us a little bit about your business.
Well, hi everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Colleen, for inviting me. And we are MG Custom Printing. We are a digital decoration company based out of the Inland Empire. And our main customers are other entrepreneurs or creators that want to create merchandise to resell, like with their artwork or photography.
That's amazing. So some of the products I know I purchased from you were, I got some cups and you sell banners. And so you, correct me if I'm wrong, but you basically sell all kinds of like marketing materials entrepreneurs can use. Is
I
that correct?
say yes. I say that we offer non-traditional promotional items. So we offer things that people can use on an everyday, on a day-to-day basis. Um, we focus mainly on the merchandise and the smaller print for now. An example would be mugs, coasters, keychains, notebooks, and also our minimums are very low. So in comparison to other bigger online competitors or companies, they in order for you to get a discount, you have to buy 100 or 200 of the same style. But what separates us from them is that we cater to our customers, because we know as small business owners, we know that we don't have a budget for 500 or 600 of the same item. So what I do, I allow my customers to mix and match. So as an example, if they want to get 36 mugs, they have the option of getting 4 different designs, 5 different designs to see what it's going to sell the most.
Oh, that's amazing. That's a great value proposition that you give to your customers. Now, I know that you're growing so fast that you just recently got into a new warehouse. Can you tell us about that and how that's
Yes.
going?
Well, it's very exciting. We started the business in 2014, so we are going into our, what is it, 7th year of business. The first 6 years, or up to a couple weeks ago, a couple days ago, I should say, we were at home. But now,
Mhm.
yes, now we are in they believe it's a 1,400 square footage altogether, including the office. It's a lot of work, but I mean, no, um, having the business at home, I know that, what I was getting myself into. I do have a much bigger space now
Mhm.
where I can easily flow and I don't have to be moving boxes around or making sure like that I tuck my tummy in to maneuver around the boxes.
So
But
let's talk about that. So you started out as a home business and then you moved into this warehouse. So that's really showing that you've had some amazing growth. And what do you feel, other than that amazing value proposition where people can, they don't have to buy, $200 worth of cups, or, they can mix and match. Other than that, what do you think has been your like secret sauce? And where are you getting your customers? How are your customers finding you?
well, I want to say that my secret sauce is just being me as a
Hmm.
person, allowing my customers to make that connection with me. I have openly shared my story with my audience. I mainly I first started with my own designs, more like of the Latino inspired items,
Hmm.
but then other vendors started asking me if I wanted to, excuse me, if I could print their stuff, and of course I said yes. So I think that's mainly my secret sauce, being
Hmm.
authentic, sharing my story. And most of my business, I want to say maybe 99.9% comes from referrals. Other people are
Mm.
willing to share my information to their colleagues or to their other entrepreneur or vendor friends.
Yeah, and I can tell you're in your warehouse. Sounds like you guys are busy in the background there, creating all kinds of products for your customers. That's amazing.
Thank
So
you.
let's talk about getting started, because we have women business owners, so some of them are getting started or taking it to the next level. What would you say to them if they, let's say they're at one plateau and now they're going and hitting another one? What would you say about them that they could do to keep themselves focused while they're growing and moving to the next level?
Well, I would say when you have to make sure that you have a solid foundation when you start. And there's plenty of resources out there. Write a business plan. I went through the program called It's Your Time with
Mhm,
the Inland Empire Women's Business Center, and that
mhm,
allowed me to write my business plan. And I'm very confident that that's the reason why I continue to grow despite the pandemic.
mhm,
Other women that are starting or thinking of starting their business, create a business plan, surround yourself with a network of individuals that are like-minded, that are going to
mhm.
push you, and also that they are at the level where you want to be. And that's where, my novel sisters come into place as well.
It's interesting because women, I find that women business owners are very collaborative. They want to work with other women. They want that support and that networking. And I know you mentioned that there's different types of resources out there, being one of them being the Inland Empire Women's Business Center. Uh, what did you was and then you have what you said NAVA, which is the National Association of Women Business Owners, that you sit on the board here in the Inland Empire in Southern California. What other resources did you have? Did you have to come up with working capital? And if you did, what did that look like? Where did that come from?
I I I did have other resources, the SBDC, SCORE. I actually met with the SCORE mentor.
Mhm,
I'd made sure that I used the free resources that were available or that are available to
mhm,
everyone, despite their immigration status or how much money they make. My family was very supportive. My older brother actually bought me my first set of equipment.
mm.
um, the husband has been very supportive, making sure that there's a roof over my head, that there's food in my tummy. My mom as well. My mom actually helps me with part of the business. She was a volunteer for the first 4 or 5 years.
Mm.
And in 2019, she became my first paid employee besides me.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Now, let's say we can go back in time. Let's pull back in time when you're very first starting out. And I know you're using all these great resources and you got your family support. But if you can go back and say, Maritza, early on, you need to do this differently, what would that be?
If I think just what would I do different? Hmm. I don't think I would do anything
Mhm,
differently. I know a lot of people would say, yes, I would do something different, but I feel that despite my immigration status, I was still able to make sure I was I was able to get the resources that I needed. If somebody
mhm.
said no, I found my yes people. Um, so I think maybe if I were to do anything differently, is just keep on pushing. And something that I like to do is keep the door open after me for those that are coming behind me.
You know what? You said something interesting. You said I wouldn't do anything differently. And it sounds like to me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like to me you're saying that you really thought it out. Where do I need to go? And if this person says no, I'm going to find the yes people. But it sounds like you put a lot of thought process behind, each step that you were taking. And that might be because of some of the resources you use. Yes or no?
That could be it, but when I started the business, I was mainly forced into the business, um, because like I said, my immigration
Mhm.
status, I wasn't able to get hired. So I had to create a job for myself. And despite everything, if for me, failure was not an option. So even if
Mm.
it didn't work out, if I had my no people, I was going to find a way I was going to find a way to find my yes people.
Oh, and this, you mentioned it a couple of times about your immigration status. Do you want to share a little bit about that? Because there might be women that'll be in the similar boat and they can say, I want to be like her. And how does she do it? And what did that look like?
Yeah, well, I mean, just really, really short. I came to the US as a child,
Hmm.
and because of our long immigration time frame,
Hmm.
I waited 20 plus years. So in other words, I couldn't work. thanks to some new laws that came into effect in California, I was
Mhm.
able to get a college degree. I got my associates and my bachelor's, um, but I couldn't legally work. The only way for me to make a living, it's weird because you
Mm.
can't go to work, you can go to school, but you can be a business owner and pay taxes, but you cannot work. So I had to find a way, where I could still work and of course pay my taxes.
Well, that's amazing. It's an amazing story. That's the, for the last how many century or and a half, that's been our American dream. People can come here and be whatever they want. But I find it fascinating that you're able to go to school but not become an employee. You could be an employer. And it's just interesting how you were able to maneuver that. That's great. So
Yeah,
let's see.
thank you.
Yeah, really it is because like you said, you found a way. And I think women, that's where women are going. I think, with the virus and people, being laid off. And then because of Corona virus, things are shifting, right? Technology shifting and how we do business is shifting. And I think women are also shifting and we're finding ways that, okay, well, I got laid off because of COVID. Now I need to survive. What else can I do? And then they take that step similar to you and figuring out how do I get there and what do I need to maneuver? And I think that's fascinating. And I think you're a great example for women, especially someone who might be in the same boat as you. And you're like, hey, wait a minute. I'm going to own a business. I'm going to create jobs. I can't have a job. I'm going to create jobs in my community,
Yes,
and that's great. I love that.
thank
Let's,
you.
so let's talk about the future a little bit. So you have your brand new warehouse. It's which is an amazing feat. I know you were moving in the last couple of weeks. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to see yourself in, let's say, 5 years, 10 years? What does that look like for you in your head?
In 5 years, I want to have my own, I want to own, not lease, a commercial space.
Mm,
Just by looking at all the stuff that I have, it's obviously going to be a bigger space,
hmm
but I want to be able to have a warehouse where I can supply the blanks to other businesses like mine,
hmm
and of course possibly have a space where if they're working from home and if they're not lucky enough to have a space at home to work, where they can come in and possibly I can have a lab where they can come in and do their work as well.
that's very generous and that's very forward thinking. I like that you're talking about owning your land because that would be something that is a real bump to your business, but also having a space where people can come in and work. That is, I think that is so generous because you're saying, here's my space. And if you don't have space, I'm going to help you and give you that space. So it seems to me you're continuously giving back to your community, with your role in National Association of Women Business Owners here in the Inland Empire, but also, what you're talking about. It's very giving. And I think, that comes back to us, and whether it's more business, supporting other women, helping people, that satisfaction. So
Yeah,
I can't wait to come and see your warehouse. Where's your warehouse located? Is it here
it's in
in
Riverside.
Riverside? Riverside.
Yes. Yeah, it's a short commute, which is perfect. This morning I was actually looking at a vision board. My goal, I want to say maybe 3 years ago, was to have a retail store in
Hmm.
downtown Riverside. But I outgrew that dream and
Hmm.
actually moved into a warehouse. But it's still pretty close to downtown Riverside. So I mean, I want to say that I could remove that from my vision board because that vision has come true already.
You know, a lot of people, I believe in vision boards. I think they're important because you're constantly looking at your goals and your dreams and things that you want to accomplish. It's right there and you can adjust it like you just said. Can you tell us how that a vision board, because some people are like, but I believe in them. And I've seen it really change people in the direction of their business. How did it impact you?
It allowed me to think ahead.
Hmm.
Something, I mean, we could do it on a yearly basis or something that you want to do, 5, 10 years from when you're creating it. My first vision board was actually through the program with the IWBC. It was
Mm-hmm.
one of the required courses we needed to take. And it just, yeah, it allowed me to create a roadmap of the next 3 years. And thankfully, besides the commercial space, when I created it was to graduate college. I don't remember what some of the other ones were, but I was able to read, little by little. So you're
Mm-hmm.
manifesting, it's like manifesting it, putting it out in the universe, something that you're constantly, if you have it in your office, or you have to have it in an area where you see it every day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like not in the back of your mind, but it's visual. So you can
Mm-hmm.
visualize yourself in what you're putting on your vision board.
I love that. And I love that when you said it puts it out in the universe. And I think people go through the process of starting a business and they can be frustrated sometimes. But if you have your vision board, it helps you say, no, this is what I'm working for. This is my dream. I'm going for it. And there's another thing you said that I find that business owners don't do is the business plan, because they're time consuming, but they're so important, especially if you're looking to get funding. Um, from either a loan or you want to go find an investor. So how important was your business plan and how closely did you follow it?
It was very important because when I started the business, I did not know anything about business. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, I was thrown in because of a necessity, but
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to make sure that I knew what permits I needed. I wanted to set a foundation. I wanted to have goals. I wanted to learn more about my industry. Um, and I created a 3-year projection. I want to say by year 2, what we had in our financials was pretty close without me even realizing it. So I mean, I made sure that my financials were feasible.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of business owners say, I'm going to make $1 million in year 1, but
Mm-hmm.
how are you going to make that $1 million? So you have to
Yep.
make sure that it's reasonable.
I-
I'm actually reading, listening to an audiobook, The
mhm.
Resilient Entrepreneur, and they do talk about the business plan.
Mm.
I mean, it's a book that I would recommend to anybody that's starting a business.
The Resilient Entrepreneur. You know who wrote it?
Yeah, I think it's something O'Neill.
Oh, okay.
Let me see. That's my Lance McNeil.
Okay. Lance. That's, I think with women, any business owner, and Simon Sinek talks about it in his, start with why, about constantly reading and as an entrepreneur and developing those skills because they can become stagnant. So that sounds like an amazing book. I think I'm going to read that myself. Now let's talk. I want to take a step back. Let's talk about you said I needed to create my own job and I through a necessity. And I know you were creating things and then business owners came to you and said, hey, can you do this for me? Have you always wanted to go into printing or was there something you wanted to do differently, but life took you this direction instead? Was there anything you wanted to do when you were, first thinking about starting a business, or was it always been this is like something you love to do?
Um, there really wasn't anything else. This just kind of came in. We took a trip to LA.
Mm-hmm.
We saw some charity shirts, and then just that sparked the curiosity. Like I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to know how they were making them because I paid $20 for a shirt,
Mm-hmm.
where on the first wash the ink started coming off. And I told my husband, like, you know what, I think I could do this. So I actually took a class, and that that business introduced me to what I do now.
Mm-hmm.
And silk screening or making shirts, it's doable, but it may require maybe 2 people or a bigger space to start with.
Mm-hmm.
But what I do is all digital. I
Mm-hmm.
saw, okay, I have all I need is a computer, printer, and the presses. So I have the space at home. I can do that. And I've always loved graphics. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
a graphic designer. I'm self-taught in Photoshop, even if it's an ancient Photoshop. And I mean, I love learning new things, especially with technology, and I think that's how it just kind of sparked that curiosity, and I saw that it worked. And I mean, right now, I don't see myself doing anything else. So I mean, maybe I found what I'm supposed to be doing.
I love that. So let's say I'm a business owner and I wanted to get a hold of you. How would they do that?
They can find me, or you can find me at Facebook, MG Custom Printing. I'm also on Instagram at MG Custom Printing. You can also send me an email, sales@mgcustomprinting.com, or my website, mgcustomprinting.com.
All right. Is there anything you would want to add before we sign off, Maritza, to the audience? Anything you want to share? Last minute share?
I would just say if you're thinking of starting a business, find the resources. There's plenty of resources out there. It's okay if you don't know. That's the whole point. You're going with people that know a little bit more than you, and surround yourself with people that believe in you and people that can see your potential before you can see it.
Thank you very much, Maritza.
Thank you.